All right. Hopefully they can hear us.
Yeah.
So,
Now we'll figure it out.
yeah. Good. Hello, everyone. Happy Mother's Day. Welcome to Waking Up with Arugs and Pep, aka Sean. Hello. Thank you for joining us Mother's Day. I don't expect our viewership to be very high due to
That's
it
okay.
being a holiday. Who knows? Everybody might have a shitty relationship with their parents like us, so it's okay. So it's fine. Yeah. Happy Mother's Day.
Grab your mom and watch the stream. I mean, that sounds like an appropriate.
How about now? Yeah. I got it. Echo. I had two mics on.
Two mics are better than one.
Yeah. Hello. So okay, let's dive into our disclaimer, and then we can dive into this wonderful subject that Sean and I love to talk about so much. So here on Waking Up, we are not here to bash anyone's faith or religious beliefs. We think that faith and religion are beautiful things when done in a mentally and emotionally healthy manner. We are not licensed professionals. Anything said on this podcast is our own personal opinions and our experiences. What we are just two people who are trying to deconstruct our unhealthy behaviors and habits and reconstruct ourselves as, healthy, functioning human beings. If you do need help, please message us at NerdMomAce on all the socials. We also on our Discord, so that we do have resources that can get you the help that you absolutely need. But don't just take what we two idiots say on the internet. It's that, like, don't believe everything you say on the internet. Like, it's fine. We don't even begin to have it figured out. So Sean and I grew up in the Carolinas, which was Billy Graham territory. And if you don't know what that means, it means we were the buckle of the Bible Belt. We were right there in the center of it all. It was very... Oh, thanks for the subscription, Paragon. We were very much raised in, especially during the 90s, 2000s, in that very strict conservative outlook. We were both raised Southern Baptists, which, if you don't know about that, Southern Baptist is a evangelical denomination of the Christian faith. And it was very evangelical, and it was very damaging. And yeah, so here we are on a podcast talking about our shit. That's about I think that's okay. There you go. And there we go. So yay! So today the topic is Mother Knows Best? ? Mother knows best? Does she know best? Now, Sean is not a parent, but I am a mother, and I am a mother of two very amazing human beings, which is a lot harder to be a mom. Like, I think for me it was I didn't realize all these moms who are like, motherhood is so wonderful. It's so, I love them. They're my blessing. Like I didn't understand why these moms thought it was this most beautiful thing ever. Like, I love being a mom, but for me, being a mom is hard. And then I came to the realization that the reason that for me being a mom is difficult is because I'm trying to break generational curses. So I'm over here not only trying to heal my trauma, I'm trying, which is a difficult path unto itself, but at the same time, I'm trying to heal the trauma that was inflicted upon my mom or by my mom, so that I am not inflicting the same type of trauma on my children. So it's like motherhood's hard in general. In and of itself, raising human beings is really difficult. But raising human beings, when you have mom trauma and trying not to pass that mom trauma, it's 3 times as hard, because I'm over here and I spend a lot of time struggling. Every single step I take, every single thing that I do, I'm like, is this going to traumatize them? Am I upset because they did something crappy, or am I upset because this is my trauma? It's a constant. Every day I wake up just worried that I'm going to screw it up. And so I realized that motherhood is very hard, But there are women out there, just like there are people out there who remember their childhoods and remember all of these things and don't like they're not working as hard as I am. And that was a realization I came to. It's like, oh, well, they love motherhood and they think it's great and it's this beautiful thing because they're not doing what I'm doing. And I get it. Okay. You go be beautiful and untraumatized, boo boo. Like you go and congratulations.
Maybe I'm being cynical here, but do you really think that they're untraumatized, or do you think that they just haven't dealt with their trauma?
First off, we don't put up with you, Paragon. We enjoy your company. Just BT
That is
dubs.
correct.
We are words matter. Words matter.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't put up with you. We enjoy your company. You are our friend.
We do.
You are our friend in
Absolutely.
real life. We have met you and hung out with you in real life. So technically you're not just
Right.
community. You are our friend, our actual friend. So
IRL friend.
IRL, I know.
Yeah. You've come and hung out at my house. We've
Well,
drank together.
I know.
So.
I know. Yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
So anyway, what did you say? I got
Take that.
distracted by Paragon's comment.
No, that's fine. Do you think that these mothers who say things like that, do you think that they are really untraumatized, or do you think that maybe they just haven't dealt with the trauma?
No,
Or
I seriously, I don't want to be cynical because there are
Mhm.
signs, and in reality, not everyone. I mean, yes, everybody wants to think that oh, they're traumatized in some way, but what if they really did have a
Mhm.
good mom? Like, what if they really did have a mom that
Sure.
loved them and support them and was there for them and cared for them, and that's the thing. Like, so I don't want to be cynical on that. Are there some people out there who are the mommy influencers who literally all have the same voice? Hi guys, blah blah blah. Like I was braiding Nora's hair today, and I was like, do you realize that all those mom influencers all have the same voice and the same like they're all the same. Like you don't even
They seem
know.
very cookie cutter.
Right. But
Yeah.
there's a difference between being a mom for influence. Like you can tell. You
Mhm.
can at this day and age you can tell. And there's those moms who had good moms. Like I would like to think that my kids are gonna grow up and feel like they had a good mom. Like I'm not gonna think and so I don't think
Okay.
so. I think that there's I think it's 50-50. Yeah, but
Mhm.
I think a lot of it you can
There
tell the difference between the moms who are pretending to be good and
Mhm.
happy and love motherhood, and there's the moms who actually genuinely I love motherhood.
that have
I'm just not
Mhm.
good at
Yeah.
it.
That have I think you're great. I think you're a fantastic mom. Just from what I've seen of you and your girls, I think you're a great
Yeah, but
mom.
I've seen the quality of people you've had at your house too.
Come what wait. I'm trying to decide if that
No,
is
that was a totes dig at you.
what all right. You know
Thanks,
what?
Paragon.
I was trying to
Thank you,
take that
Galileo.
as like you've had great caliber of people, but
No,
all right. You know what? You're probably right. I think he put JK on the end, so yeah, I think you're right about that.
I mean
That's fine.
I've seen the woman that you bought the house with.
Okay, that's see okay. You know way too much about my personal life and my past and my history and my relationships.
Yeah, I know way too much for somebody who for somebody you like to fuck with.
I
One of these days I'm gonna do like revenge gossip or something.
oh my god.
See, I went
I
low rigs, you went ankle battle. Well, yeah, I did. No, I got his knees out from under him. It's
no
fine.
no holds barred. That's Arugs. That's why we love you because you do those because you're brutally honest sometimes,
No, all the time.
all the time. Yeah.
I wouldn't say brutally.
What am I
Okay, I'm
saying?
brutally honest sometimes, but I'm honest all the time.
Sometimes. That's there you go. I like that. Mm. Uh, so happy Mother's Day.
Tell me about your mom.
Oh God. Oh yeah. So I don't have that aspect of it. But there was a point. I remember there was a point where I told my mom um a spit roasting. No Paragon.
Okay,
Uh
here, answer this question. Do you feel like you have
yeah.
a good relationship with your mom?
Oh no. no. Um, I think you can tell the people that do have the Gen Xers that have a good relationship with their parents because they have a good relationship with their because they have a relationship with their parents. Because Gen Xers have become big and millennials about um, going no contact or very light contact with family. So exactly. So Gen Xers and millennials have become like if there's not a good relationship that they make it known. They do something about it. So with no, I don't think I've got a good relationship with my mom. Just recently I had to reaffirm I had to set boundaries with her because it was even in a healthy relationship. I was not okay with the conversations that we had. And so I had to set some boundaries. But my therapist asked is that if your mom was um if she changed, if she did like a 180, she and all the stuff that you want her to change and all this and she respects your boundaries and everything. What would that do? Like what would your relationship be like? How often would you communicate with your mom? And I was like, honestly, I don't think it would be very different than the amount I communicate right now. The quality of the communication would be better, but I don't think the amount of communication would change. I not a when it comes to my parents and my mainly my parents. There's not a lot of communication. I don't have a strong desire to have that. I'm
Well,
not one
you
of those.
also don't have the strong desire. Like, would you don't have the strong desire because you didn't have a good relationship with them in your childhood. So,
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's it's we're not saying that all of the stuff that I experienced in childhood wiped away and I had a good childhood.
mhm.
There's my therapist was saying if your mom changed in the way if she got, mentally healthy and all the stuff, if she totally did a 180, what would you how would that change your relationship?
Oh,
And
it would completely change my relationship.
with yours, yeah, absolutely with yours, yes. With mine, I don't. Maybe it would. I kind of don't think it. I don't know if it necessarily would though. For me,
I think it would. You want to know how?
you think so?
Because
How?
she is one of the sources of your invalidation. She is one of the sources of your like a lot of your insecurity. She's the source of a lot of how you perceive yourself, and she's
Hmm.
actually a lot of the reason. Let's think about this. You've disappointed your mother. Do you remember
Oh
that
my
incident?
god!
Okay, the one that scarred you for life.
Yes,
Yeah, that one.
yes,
I really think that
the
if
one
she
that
did
I
a
go to every time.
right, yeah, I think the one if she did a
Mhm,
180 and started validating you and respecting you and doing all those things,
mhm.
I think that you would talk to her all the time.
Interesting. Yeah, you might be right. Um, like our conversations right now are pretty much her telling me all of the medical problems and things that are going on in her life, and
Yeah, but
me.
she's done a
Um,
180. So what's the
but
180
if
of
she's
that?
done yeah, I don't, and I hardly ever tell her anything that's going on with me. My answers are very. So if she started did a 180, that's what said the quality of conversations would change, and maybe if the quality of conversation changed, maybe the quantity would change. Yeah, yeah, you make a point.
It's not about Paragon about mothers and the people that gave birth to you. I'm going to make that very, very
Mhm,
clear because your biological mother, your birth mother, did get taken out of your life, but then your grandmother became your mother.
mhm,
So when we say mother, it's not about the woman that gave birth to you because there are people out there who are adopted and they have
mhm,
or have stepmoms or don't have moms. And you're right, they don't have moms, and that's it's not about knowing you're the person who gave birth to you. It is about the person who raised you. And sometimes somebody's mom is a male. I mean it's not so much about that, but there is a distinct thing for Sean and I about being a mom. And we also want to point out that that's why Mother's Day and Father's Day I think bothers me and it does trigger me a little bit because I do like the fact that my kids get a chance to go, "Oh, you're special," but they tell me I'm special all the time. because
Hmm.
I like to think of myself as a good mom. They say, "Oh, you're awesome." Yeah, but I'm on the boat with you. The mom I got to know was one of the
Yeah.
years. Yeah, exactly. Like so there's Mother's Day and Father's Day I think has gotten to the point where it is almost harmful. It's almost like Valentine's Day in in that
Hmm.
aspect for me. I think Valentine's Day, ooh, let's remind all those people who are heartbroken or single or widowed or whatever. Let's remind them that they're alone on this day. And then
And that you're not worth as much because you are alone.
right. And then let's commercialize that. And Mother's Day and Father's Day is the same way. Like
Yeah.
I know that the first Mother's Day after I went no contact, I was wrecked. I was wrecked. And it was very painful for me. And it's still to this day, still triggers me. Still triggers me. I deal with it better. I still have my moments, and then I recognize it and deal with it. But yeah, Mother's Day, yeah.
The holidays, a lot these holidays, like you said, like Valentine's Day, these can have a very triggering effect on people. These can have a very they can as
Thank you,
positive as they can
Paragon.
be for some people, they can be just as negative for other people.
Yeah,
They can really trigger you.
absolutely.
Um
Absolutely.
and it's difficult to deal with that, especially because the media and there's so much of society looks at it as you're supposed to be this. This is the ideal. And so if we're bombarded with that. And so if you don't fit that ideal, yeah, it almost feels like there's something wrong. There's something wrong with us. There's something wrong with me because I don't have this relationship with my mom or my mom, my dad, or family or loved one, whatever. So you're like, I almost feel broken, even though there's so many people out there who are in the same boat, in the same situation. We're bombarded with the other.
Right. And we're not and Sean and I very much recognize that the traditional family, as in there's a mom,
Hmm.
there's a dad, there's a dog, there's a white picket fence. Like we understand that that is not at all what happens anymore. More than not, you're going to come from a broken home, or you are the broken home, or that
Yeah.
you're raised by, Susie has two mommies, or, Johnny has two
Hmm.
daddies, or, and those families are just as functional and beautiful and loving environments. And, especially when you
Yeah.
have two men, like, there's not like you realize that the birth mother isn't in their life. So most of the time isn't in their life. So, I mean, that's we recognize that too, and we think that that's great. I've known several of my gay friends who have adopted, and they're beautiful parents. They're
Oh, absolutely.
amazing, loving parents.
Yeah.
And so
Hmm.
so when we're talking about our moms, we're talking about our trauma, and then which is what this show's about. And our moms, actually, I can't say this for Sean, but I know for me, a lot that is the very source of my a lot of the source of the work that I'm doing. And I absolutely did some trauma work this past week on in therapy where it literally ended with me like sobbing for a solid half an hour. I felt like I just gotten punched in the face. So yeah. So I mean we are absolutely recognizing that there are different families, the family dynamics
Hmm.
out there, and that we think that they're beautiful. And if you didn't know your biological mother, then there is always, not always, there is sometimes a woman who has raised you. Like for Paragon, it was his grandmother, and
Hmm.
or their aunt, or whatever that is.
Hmm.
So, I mean, and you may have had a good experience with that in that situation. But
Yeah. Yeah, I think your mother is who you look to for that role, for that, and whether they're blood or not, I think is irrelevant. It's the person you look to. So, same with dad, same with Father's Day.
yeah. I think Father's Day and Mother's Day, like I said, just a reminder, especially to some people, just like especially me. I don't have like I woke up this morning going, "Oh, it's Mother's Day." My kids bring me coffee, and it was they were being
Oh,
goofy and they were hanging out with me, and I loved every minute of
yeah,
it. But then there's a thought in the back of my head going, "My mom is like 15 minutes down the road," and I had for a moment, I had the urge of maybe I should email her make it very clear that I don't want to have a communication with her. But then I'm like, but that doesn't make sense. No, I don't want
I
to
don't want to
communicate.
communicate. I'm communicating with you, but that I don't want to communicate with you.
I've had a couple of those messages. I don't want you. I don't want to communicate. I've had those, and of course, like I'm just like, no, it's
Yeah,
that, and that's my trauma. That's
it's
my
tough.
sadness.
It's just
Yeah.
it's difficult every time, isn't it? Because the thought's still there. The desire is still there. You want your mom to be healthy, and you want to be able to have a good relationship.
Hmm.
You just you don't, and you can't. There's nothing you can do to change that.
Right. I think
So
it's just one of those. I would rather be no contact and be honest about how the level of my relationship with my mom than
mhm,
to have her in my life and pretend like everything's okay when I absolutely just have her
'cause
pretend, have me pretend, and basically just use me
yeah,
to make her look better. And I'm sorry, I'm not about that game anymore. And
yeah, you
I'm
shouldn't
not
have.
about to let her use my kids either. And I think that that is what
Mhm,
um, mothers with, some of the issues that my mom has, she likes to use the people as extensions of herself to make them look,
mhm.
oh, look at, I'm a great grandmother, and look, I'm a great mom. And I'm like, no, you're fucking not.
Yeah,
You give a
because you're
shit.
sitting there with knowing the truth.
Right, you give a shit, but with the shit that you give us is a big old rope tied to it, not even a string, it's a rope. So you can just go dangle it above us. Like, no, no,
Mhm,
no.
yeah. um, yeah. So the relationship I've had with my mom, there was one point where I told her I was like, I think you did a great job. Like this is probably 5 6 years ago. I think at one point before I was like, oh yeah, you were a great mom. That was before I started unpacking everything. Um, and like I'm not trying to like my mom did the best she can at for the trauma she was dealing with. I don't know exactly what all she went through. Um, this is one thing I've had to learn in therapy is that it is possible for my mom to have done the best job she could and to have traumatized me. Because I've held a lot of resentment towards my parents, especially my mom. And as I'm going through therapy and unpacking some of these things, it's really easy because I have a tendency. I often villainize people because it makes it easier for me. It's easier for me to villainize someone
Often.
often, most of the time, 99%.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. Spade to spade. Um, so when I'm looking when I'm going through therapy and I'm learning all these, I do the things I do. I think the way I do. I'm dealing with this trauma because of what happened in my childhood. It's easy, very easy for me to villainize villainize her, which doesn't which replaces like one trauma for another. It doesn't help me um heal from my trauma because because then I'm villainizing her and that's just swinging like the other direction. Because she's not a villain. Whether as much as I wanted to make her that, she's not. She did things that created trauma in my life, and so dealing with that is its own set of difficulty for me. Is understanding what happened and healing from that, and at the same time healing from the villainizing part, which is a really long journey for me, a difficult journey of villainizing that I'm still have very far to go.
I
So.
I I I I think for me in this journey, and I've said this before on some of our other Mother's Day podcasts, and when we've talked about this, it's like I had to come to the realization that I wasn't going to get what I thought I deserved,
Mhm.
and that and I spent a lot of the time, especially in my early healing days, it was like, well, if I got this, I could move on. if I got this, I could do, if I got the apology, if I got the recognition, if I got but in the reality of it is, you're right. She did the best that she could. And a lot of times, I mean, and I still recognize this now, there's a lot of things that she didn't believe that she did anything wrong. And she still doesn't believe that she did anything wrong. And I'm never going to get that apology. I'm never going to get that. I'm sorry. I'm never going to get that validation. I'm never going to get that recognition of what she did was harmful. Mm-hmm. And coming to that realization and going, okay, I still love this woman because I do. I still love her very much. I mean, there's a lot of good things. I'm not going to deny that there are a lot of good moments. Just like in any relationship, there are a lot of good moments. But then for me, I had to go, I'm not going to get this. I forgive her. I'm not going to hear what I feel I need to hear. But that doesn't mean that that's going to stop me, or I need to wait on to get that, to move on. It is not an essential part of my healing, my trauma that my mother inflicted upon me. And it took me a while because I'm like, no, I need that. That you feel like that is an essential part for you to get past that, but it's not. If they would, I could. And that's not the fact. That is not a fact at all. They don't have to. And they won't ever. But I can still move on because it's not my fault. Just like in DBT, it's not my fault about what happened to me. It is not, they did the best they could, and it's not my fault. Mm-hmm. Even though I'm still struggling with that, still struggling with the thought of, what did I do? Like, why didn't she love me why didn't she love me? Like, was it so hard to love me? Was I so hard to love? And those are the thoughts that go through my head. And it's like, because I look at my kids, and how often do we say that they are just carbon copies of me? Like, they are both parts of my personality. Like, they are both carbon copies of me, and I love them so much, and they are so easily loved. And I'm just like, then I was telling my therapist this like Wednesday. I was like, why was I so hard to love? And she goes, we're going to stop right there. And we're going to change this wording, because we need to change your belief system, because that's what you believed in your head as a kid. And we're going to retrain your brain. And it's like, she was incapable of loving you. And that's still not an easy statement to say, like, because that's still not an easy statement to say, because you're like,
yeah,
what's the difference? What's the difference in that? And the difference is it takes the blame and the responsibility off of me, even though it's still a difficult statement. It's still a hard, traumatizing statement. It still takes the responsibility off me and puts it on her, because that's where it belongs. She was incapable of loving me.
Wasn't your responsibility to act in a way in which she could love you.
Right. She was incapable of loving me because of whatever reasons, trauma, whatever it is, she was incapable of loving me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was like, okay. She goes, I know it still sucks, but
it does.
Words matter. I was like, okay.
That's why we harp on that. That's why whenever I do it, whenever I phrase something in a certain way, it comes up. It's like, okay, let's think about a different way. My therapist is the same thing. Absolutely. I start to, he's like, let's reframe that. Let's think about a different way, because
reframe. Oh my God. I find it how many times I swear to God, how many times I heard the phrase, let's reframe that. Yeah, I know. Like,
and it's frustrating. Like, I know for me, it's frustrating, especially when I hear it so often, from my therapist. I'm like, oh my God, really? Do I have to?
Right.
Yeah. And it's taken time to learn that the way in which we say these things, the way that we talk to ourselves, the way I talk to myself, matters. And I didn't think it did for a long time. It's the same thing. No, it's not. The way I talk to myself, whether it's out loud or in my head, the way I talk to myself, I become what I say. So I have
So do other people, Pep Pep.
I was getting to that. Yeah, I was going to say that. That
Mhm.
was my next statement. Was I
Mhm.
I become what I tell myself, and also I become what other people say.
No. And other
What other people
people
say about.
no, other people become what you say to about them in your head.
Oh, that okay. That yeah, that does too. You're right. No, you're right about that. That's also true. Other people become what I say about them. Ooh, oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, folks. In
Oh,
case you didn't know,
oh,
I literally just
ooh.
went for the jugular to Pep Pep
Oh,
right
she
there.
did.
So there you
Oh,
go.
she. Yeah. Oh God. Yes. 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 Yes.
You're
You're right.
welcome.
I'm feeling that one. Hold on. Okay. So no, you're absolutely right. You are. Because and that goes along with what I was saying about earlier about villainizing. The way I talk about other people in my head, it does affect how I see them. Other people, because if I make other people a villain, I'm going to treat them like a villain. If I talk about them as in the worst, if I talk about them as they were out to get me, I'm going to treat them that way. And my behavior is gonna my the words that I say and my behavior is going to reflect what I say about them, as opposed to they are doing they are doing what they believe is the best thing for them. They are doing what they know to do.
Today's gonna be one of those days.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, Kevin. It is.
I mean, it's fine. If I'm traumatized, everyone has to be traumatized today.
Yes. If we gotta be traumatized, you gotta be traumatized. But that was a big uh when it came to my ex, that was a hard one because I villainized my ex for so long, even before she was my ex.
I think
Um,
I
mhm.
just it's so easy for us to vilify. Um, but
Makes it easier for us to
especially
talk about
yeah, and like I know that like especially back in the early 2000s in the no, the early aughts, it was very much people actually started going to therapy on a regular basis. Gen X started going to therapy back then, and like they actually started like working through their issues. And you heard
yeah.
so many of like, oh, you're going in, and it's like, oh, it's my parents' fault. Well, yeah, yeah, and it's one of those, but it is so easy. Like you would think that I do vilify my mother because I am no contact with her, and I did. I did. I mean, I've been really honest. And does that feeling and emotion come up when she breaks my boundary, like writing me a letter or sending my kids gifts or like doing the things that knowing are not when I say no contact, I mean no contact. And
Mhm.
and I'm sure somewhere in her head, for me, I know my logical brain that she's like, as long as I keep reaching out, she'll know I'm still there. And it's one of those, I know you're there. I know you're there.
Yeah.
I know how to get a hold of you. I know your address. I know your
Mhm.
phone number. I could easily get in touch with you and see you if I wanted to. I
Mhm.
know you are there. I don't need a constant reminder that you are there. And you constantly reaching out and breaking that boundary and just not respecting it, even though she'll says, I just want to respect, I want to respect her boundaries. But like when my sister came to visit, she was saying all this shit to my sister. And my sister and I were like it's like the right things to say. And that's the part that just really bothered me and what took so long is they sometimes know the right thing to say to sound like they're doing the
Mhm.
right thing, but it's not. Just like when your mom's like, "Ooh, if I keep trying, you might get into heaven. It's
Plant
my job." Like,
plant the seed.
plant the seed. If I keep trying it, no,
Yeah.
hooker. I have
It
gone no
does.
contact. I am an adult. You need to
Yeah.
fucking figure that out.
Mhm.
But
They. Yeah.
I was easily vilifying her for a long time. Anger,
Okay. Oh
anger.
yeah.
I was I hated her. Hated,
Mhm.
like hate. But what I realized is that she wasn't a villain. She hurt me. She traumatized me. And she wasn't a villain. Like you said, she was doing the best she could.
Mm-hmm.
And the hatred and the vilification that I was holding on to was on me. The reason that I was so angry, the reason that I was so hurt, the reason is because there was shit that I wasn't ready to face. And it was so much easier to just go, it's mom's fault. Well, yeah, it is mom's fault. And in DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, they say radical acceptance. It is not your fault. It is, however, your responsibility to heal from that. I didn't like that too much, but because then
we start therapy on the first side.
Yeah,
it's not our fault. We're like, okay, it's not our fault. It's not our fault. It's not our fault. But then we take that because it's such a deviation from us to say it's not our fault that we then have to make it has to be someone's fault. And so we then push that external hardcore, like we swing and go, it's all your fault. And then we have to work through that until we get to the point where it's my responsibility to heal.
Yeah. And I'm going to be honest, like, and I said earlier, is like, I had the urge to contact my mom because the guilt doesn't go away. And for Sean is still in contact with his mom. Sean is still in contact with his mom. We're on two different sides of this mother trauma situation, which is good for podcasts like this. So I went no contact because it was either me or her. It came to the point where it was my mental health or hers. And I'm sorry. Like at that point, I was like, I'm sorry. I've got two children and they deserve to have a mom that's better than the one I'm getting. She had her chance. My kids don't deserve this. So I made that choice. And years, it was so hard. And very guilt-ridden and very shame because you get the whole, well, she's your mother. She's the only one you have, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, she's my mother, but look at all the shit she did to me. Would a real mom do that? Okay, sure. Like,
that guilt trip is, that's awful. And that is I think that's so common.
And I still feel that. And I'm going to acknowledge that. I still feel that guilt and that sadness. I still feel it. It's still just as difficult, but I think for me that being on that no contact, I still feel it, but I recognize what it is. And I recognize, okay, I am feeling this way. And then I'm able to talk myself and my inner child, because that's really what it is that my relationship with her affected my inner child so much because, and just like your inner child, I just wanted her to love me. Why didn't she love me? And maybe now that I'm older and I'm healed, maybe she'll love me. And I'm like, that's not a good motivation. Maybe if I'm healed now that she'll love me. No, then I have to be the adult to myself and I have to go, okay.
That's all your inner child has ever wanted.
Yes.
That's your inner child going, yeah, if I do this, she'll love me.
Yeah.
You make it your responsibility.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, that's not right. It's like, yes, you feel the guilt and I know you want that. But is that going to be beneficial to you? Will she really love you? You can't control other people and how they feel towards you. No, fine. and then it passes. But the feelings never go away. Your just ability to navigate the feelings are easier. And you know what? I'm going to say this right now to all of my friends out there who have hard relationships with their parents and their mothers. It is okay to be angry at them. It is okay to feel that anger and that resentment. It is absolutely okay. Do I want you to sit in it? No, but it is okay to feel that hurt, because I know for me, when I was angry, it's like, oh, I shouldn't feel this way. Who the fuck says? If they hurt you, if anyone hurt you, your mom, your dad, your sister, your third cousin twice removed, you have the right to be angry that it happened to you. And I didn't understand that. So I am giving you permission on Mother's Day to be pissed off that it's fucking Mother's Day. It's okay to feel that emotion. That is an okay emotion to feel. It is okay. Anger is an okay emotion, as so many people don't get told that. Pep, pep. So, anger is an okay emotion to feel.
Oh, well, that touches on a whole nother trauma. It's okay to be okay. All right.
I'm just going for the jugular today.
Great. Fine. Yes, anger. Oh God, yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, I'm sitting on that one for a second. No, I'm
No,
sitting on that one
nope,
for a second.
nope. You
No,
need, nope. Go ahead.
uh, no, anger. Anger is okay to feel. That is not what I grew up learning. Anger is not okay. And I didn't grow up learning healthy ways to be angry, or express that anger. What was it? It's okay to be angry. It's not okay to lash out, or it's not okay to hurt other people. What's the
This is what I tell my children. And I have literally
uh
told them since they were 2 years old, like literally 2 years old, because I was trying very hard to teach my kids about bad emotions. I was trying to make it okay for them. Even before my healing journey, I was trying to make it okay that it was a safe, that their feelings are valid. And this is the thing
mhm,
that we even now to this day, it is a rule in our house. And I ask them when I say, what's the rule?
mhm.
This is what they'll say. It's okay to be mad. It's not okay to be mean.
Yeah.
And that was
That's
very digestible for them as little kids, and it's easy for them to remember even as they're growing up into teens, in that,
mhm,
you know, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. What it's not okay is to lash out and to hurt others because you're angry, because you're sad or upset. And so that's one of that's opened up, been able, that's been a phrase that I've been able, and you can use it as an adult. It's a great phrase as an adult. It's
it
okay
is.
to be mad.
Yeah.
It's not okay to be mean. And it's so simple to remember and remind yourself. And so it opens up, from, I think, for me and my kids, the relationship that I can have that I didn't have with my mom is like, okay, you are angry. Okay, you're angry. Your actions are not justified. Your feelings are justified. So let's talk
Hmm.
about the feeling that caused the emotion. And then we'll
Yeah.
come back to what you did and why that was not okay. Like, but still validating how, especially with my youngest, because she has a temper like mama. The sorry kid. That one, she got that
What?
one for me.
Yeah.
But um, you know, she's allowed to be angry. She is absolutely allowed to have those feelings. What she's not allowed to do is to talk to me in a certain way or hit her sister or throw things. Like that's not okay. Let's talk about that. Does it always come to fruition that way? No. No. And that's okay. And that's okay too. We make it work.
Yeah.
We navigate her
Yeah.
difficult emotion, but we invalidate. I think that was the big thing, is that her validation of those emotions that we
Mhm.
didn't get as kids. It was not okay to be
We didn't.
angry. And we feel
Yeah.
guilty when we're
Mhm.
angry at our parents.
Yes. We feel. Yeah. I feel guilty when I feel angry about pretty much about anyone. It's like I'm not allowed. I'm not supposed to feel angry, especially growing up Christian. Oh, you didn't get angry. You didn't.
Slow
You
to anger,
suppressed.
fat, quick to love.
Slow to right.
Slow to anger, quick
Yes.
to love. Was that a Bible verse, or was
Oh,
that just like I did? Was that a Bible
be, to
verse?
be slow to yes. Be slow to anger is a Bible verse.
Half the shit I don't know whether it's a Bible verse or not.
Well, because a lot of things that you're taught in the evangelical church
Oh yeah.
isn't actually a
Hey,
Bible
come
verse,
here.
or is
Come here.
so out of context.
Do you want to be on stream?
Uh,
Hey, do you want to be on stream? No.
no, okay,
My speaking of my youngest, I was just talking about her.
yeah,
I
uh
was
huh.
just talking about you. I was talking about our rule. Which one? It's okay to be mad. That one. Do we use that one a lot? Yeah. She told me, she goes, Mom, you should have done your dragon makeup for streaming. We're gonna do that after I'm done streaming. Yeah. We have to practice our
Oh,
we're doing cosplay stuff. So
it's about that time.
well, yeah, I have
Yeah,
to do at least her makeup because I don't have her next weekend. I can at least do mine next weekend.
gotcha.
But anyway.
Yeah, so slow to anger. That's a that's what that was shoved down our throats. Not allowed to be angry, and not only that, but not we were never because we weren't supposed to be angry because I wasn't supposed to be angry. I didn't learn how to process that anger.
Mhm.
So first, my anger was invalidated, and then I didn't learn how to deal with it because it was invalidated. I never learned how to deal with it. So because anger is often a secondary emotion, you've said that before. Anger is usually a secondary emotion. There's something else that's happening that anger is one of the for me anger is easily accessible.
For
Something
most
is
males, it
causing
is.
me.
For most males, it
Yeah,
is.
anger is the
Actually,
one
yeah.
that's the one emotion that we can name pretty quickly.
Because it's the one emotion
When
that is acceptable societally. That's
it is.
the
That's
right word.
interesting. Yeah. I'm not allowed to in the church, but society does allow men to be angry.
Mhm.
Nothing else. And so whatever is affecting us, anger is what presents because we know how to we know how to access it, and it's acceptable. But what's causing it? I never learned how to process what is making me angry. What happened? What feeling? What am I? Am I scared? Um, and I'm learning that fear is a huge factor in my life. Is bigger.
What?
I think fear is a bigger factor than I realized it was. I've known for several years that fear has played a big part in my life. But yeah, that's am I afraid? And what am I afraid of? Am I afraid because fear I think is also a secondary. Is it insecurity? Is it something happened that I feel is unjustified? Um, so getting to those emotions, digging into that is something I'm having to completely learn as an adult. I never learned that growing up, how to process those. And so I've had an unhealthy relationship with my emotions for almost my entire life. And it's only until recently where I'm learning to access that and understand that. The color wheel comes up all the time. Or not the color wheel. The emotion wheel comes up all the time. What's the emotion? What's the emotion? What and having to look it up and so I didn't learn that. I didn't learn that, and so I'm learn it as an adult, and it's difficult. Because anger, I am quick to anger. I that's something I've known about me for a while. I just didn't understand anything beyond that. It became a personality thing. Oh yeah, I get angry real quick, or like I have these flashes or whatever. But why? Where's it coming from?
Mhm.
Yeah. So yay, anger.
Have you been
So I'm
angry
learning
towards
to
your
value.
mom?
Yeah. Oh, my cousin called me out on it one time. And my cousin's the closest person that the person in my family that I'm the closest to. And we were chatting one time. This was soon after I came out as bi. We were talking because I told she was one of the first. She was the first family member that I told. And so we were talking. So we were talking, and I told her that, and conversation went on. And at one point, it circled back around to me telling, at some point telling my parents, or if I was going to tell my parents, probably would. And I was like, part of me wants to tell them just out of spite. And she went, "Wow, you are really angry at them, aren't you? That you would use your sexuality, your preference as a means to get at them, to hurt them back. You you're really angry. You're really upset. They really hurt you. You're really upset about them at them. That's probably not the healthiest way to approach that when you're right. But I was like, that really clicked with me. That I was something like that I was gonna use as a means hurt them, to hurt them back. Yeah. I had a lot of anger towards them.
Had or have?
Um, both. Had a great deal, have still, and I'm working through. I don't feel as angry or as spiteful towards them as I did, and I think part of that comes from my setting a boundary because I think before that I think my anger came out of um help. No, I don't know helplessness, but like I didn't like the way my mom I didn't like the way my mom treated me, talked to me, but I didn't do anything about it. And so I was angry. So it was again, it was easy to get angry about it. But she was doing that because that's all she knew. She didn't know any better. She's been treating me the same way for my entire life. It was up to me to redefine what is acceptable in this dynamic. What is acceptable for me? And so I think that's part of where I've been able to work through that anger is I finally set a boundary. And so I don't have that resentment and that anger and that helplessness that I felt about the way she treats me. Now, this is what is acceptable, and she can choose. It's on her to respect that or not. But here's my boundary, and here's the consequences of that. So I'm still dealing. I think I'm still dealing with some anger, but I don't think it's nearly as much.
Right. Weaponized rebellion.
Weaponized rebellion. There you go, Jay. Yeah.
Oh,
It's like I didn't. Sorry. Good.
we did that as teenagers. That is a very adolescent way to approach that. And I am finding that for those of us who, or I know for myself, that had childhood trauma and all of that, like you don't grow past that, especially when you're dealing with your parents. Weaponize that whole doing it because I know it's gonna hurt them and it's gonna make them angry, or I don't know how many times as a teenager I'm like, i'm I'm wearing this dress that I know that they're gonna hate because my
Yeah.
mom's gonna hate it, or I love this dress because mom hates it, like, and
Even if they never know that you did it,
mhm.
you did it, and the fact that you did it was what validated you or made you it satisfied that rebellion. For me, it was my tattoo. My tattoo at 20, at around age 20, because that was a massive way to rebel against them, and I they never saw it for a couple years. Um, so now, of course, now I'm getting it taken. I'm getting it removed. But it was. I think that was. I didn't realize that until recently. Uh, that's what that tattoo was.
But that
It was an act
doesn't
of rebellion.
end. And I'm taking it because I'm a parent. I'm gonna turn that. And you can do weaponized rebellion in to yourself. In that I've spent a lot of the first part of my kids' lives, and even still occasionally, like more often than I than not, um, going, I don't want to be my mom. I'm doing this because she didn't do it. I'm doing this because this is not, and it's that still that part of she didn't do it, so I'm going to be better. I'm not going to be my mom. I'm not going to be this. So instead of it being I am doing something because I know they'll hate it, I'm doing this to prove that I'm better. And that's still a weaponized type of rebellion, is just turned around to internal. And it's less I'm going to hurt that, like somewhere in my inner adolescent, I'm going, I don't want to do this. And then part of my inner child, like it gets all wrapped up in that. I'm doing this because my mom didn't do it. And that's the wrong way to approach anything. Just like, oh, I'm doing this because I want to do it and I know it'll piss them off. Like, that's still not an okay mindset. I'm going to do this because I want to be this type of mom. That's again, it's words matter and how you approach it matters. The action is still the same. I'm doing this because it is good for my kids. I am doing this because this is the type of mother I want to be. I'm doing this because this is how I want to show, how I wanted to show, be shown love. So this is how I'm going to do it because that. So it's very much it's this the actions are still the same. The result still the same. It is
Yeah.
the thought process behind it. And
Mhm.
it really does make an entire difference
Mhm.
because you're then
Yeah.
not angry. You're not going, well, I'm doing this because, I don't want to be her. Well, no, I'm doing this because I want to be this type of mom. Totally different.
Ooh.
Results are still the same.
Yeah. But well, I wouldn't say the results are exactly the same because you may still accomplish the thing that you wanted to do, but I think the motivation behind that is really telling, and I think that's where the difference lies. Why are you doing the thing? Oh, you got Calvino. You sank his battleship.
I'm sorry.
Um, emotional support method. You know what? That
Dude,
sounds good right
I know.
now. But I think the results aren't exactly the same between those two different ways. Yes, you may have achieved the thing, but the way in which you achieved it, the motivation, the intention behind your achieving it are different.
Well, I agree and disagree. I think the external results are the same. I think the external results
Yes.
are the
Yeah.
same. The internal results are not. Yes, I would agree with that. But I think the external results, my kids feeling loved and cared for and taken care of and seen and validated, I think that is all the same. I think for me, it's very much, I am less feeling, because of the difference in approach, I'm not feeling vindictive. I am not feeling
Mhm.
unlovable. I'm not feeling what I'm doing is I'm approaching it as this is the person that I want to be because I want to be that person.
You
I
want to
want
be
to
that.
be that
Yeah.
mom instead of I'm going to be this type of mom because she wasn't. So it's taking that
Yeah.
responsibility and power out of her hands and putting it into my own and taking accountability for that and more of because I want to, not because I feel like I have to. And that's a huge that internally is a
That's a
big
big
deal.
difference. Yeah.
But the external result is still the same.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, I think I spent a lot of my life trying not to be my older brother. I think that defined my life quite a bit. That's what made me think about it is not wanting. I'm going to do this because he did. I'm going to do this because I'm not going to do this because he did. I think the religion being I'm the one child that maintained my religious identity for so long. So I think that's why it kind of hit for me is like the reason I did or didn't do something I think can have a long term internal effect. But anyway.
So tell me how you want to find the approval of your mother.
God.
How you're
I
constantly
think.
seeking the approval of women to feel your need to get the approval of your mom.
Are you saying I got mommy issues? I do
Oh,
not.
I know you have mommy issues. I'm not saying it. I am flat out like calling you into the carpet. I know you have mommy issues. You married
So
your mother.
yeah, you're right.
Tell me
Thanks
I
for
am
that.
wrong.
No, you're not.
And you spent
You're
your
not wrong.
entire marriage trying to get that approval,
That's fair. You're right. I did.
which
Um,
has affected you.
yes, it does affect me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Which is
Um,
affecting you. So tell me how you're trying to get your mom to love you.
oh my god. When I was choosing a new therapist, I specifically chose a male therapist because of that. Because of that need for approval, that need for validation.
From females.
Um, from females. Yeah, I knew that if I had a female therapist,
She called you Oedipus
that
Rex.
God,
I
thanks.
did. I did. He married his mom and wondered why the
Mm.
relationship went south.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's that.
Oh, we being honest here on waking up. Happy
We
Mother's Day.
are, yeah. Yes, I have had. Um, there is a constant need for approval. From my mother, from females, constantly trying to get that approval and get that validation. Um, I I wondered if the validation that I received from my mother had how much had to do with um my maintaining my religious identity. I wonder about that. I wonder about that now, especially is how much did she approve because of that versus does she really approve of me as a person? Does she really how does she feel about me as a person versus how does she feel about me because of my religious identity at the time? I don't know. I think she might be trying to figure that out. But yes, the point in time that I always go back to is that time that I so severely disappointed my mother that she couldn't, according to my dad, couldn't even come out here and look at me in the face. Um, that was an identifying. I'm getting there. That was such a core memory. That is such a core memory for me. And I always, whenever I told the story, up until recently, whenever I told the story, it was always like, it was kind of a turning point, and I told it like, oh my god, I did such a, I was so rebellious and blah blah blah, and then I did that, I hurt my mom, and I swore I'd never be rebellious again. Like I acted out, I screwed up, and I spent my life trying to make sure I didn't screw up again. That's how I've told the story for so long. I told the story in therapy, and that was not the response I got. My therapist looked at me and went, trying to remember exactly. My therapist said, "Wow, you're that was really emotionally manipulative of your parents." I went, "I'm sorry, what?" And he went, "Yeah, your mom couldn't face you. Your That was outright emotional manipulation, hardcore. No wonder that's affected you. Not for the reason you think, but that has affected you your entire life, and because of what they did, not because of what you did. You were a teenager. What you did was normal, like, especially in the realm of things that teenagers do. You stayed out past curfew a couple times. Oh my god. Not saying that you should have, but really, that's what caused her to not be able to look you in the face. Really?" I was like, "Why don't you put it that way?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm putting it that way." That was emotional manipulation by your parents outright, and you didn't deserve that. I was like, "Oh God, all right, I was not ready for that." Oh, okay, yeah. And he's like, "And you've been seeking your mom's approval because of that ever since." Mm,
So much you
Calvina, you have
married your
you have
mom.
your muffin. I have my mug.
So much you married your
Oh.
mom. The woman your mom approved of. The woman that was exactly like your mother. You. That's how deep it went.
When you do it in a sing-songy voice, it doesn't make it any better. Oh.
No,
Ah.
I mean, yes, absolutely emotionally manipulative, and my parents were the same. My mom was exactly the same way. There was often times where she says, and I had to learn this, in I don't know, like it's like, and this is I try very hard not to do this, and this is so commonplace. So it's like, I sacrificed for you. so you can't be angry, ungrateful, all this stuff. Like I went without so that you could have. Well, that is your own
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
I am your child. It is your responsibility to take care of me. And what I didn't realize is that it is their responsibility to take care of me until I'm 18. Like, and yes, you're going to go through your
Yeah.
teenage years, but I'm sorry. You're that's what you
That's your
sign up
responsibility
for.
as a parent.
That is what you sign
You
up
didn't
for.
choose. You didn't choose to come into the world. They chose to have you. It is their
Right.
responsibility
And
to take
and
care of
I
you.
as a parent, I'm like, I'd never like try to deny my kids. I went without lunch so that you could have food or whatever. I'm like, no, I work really hard so that we can have a good life. I try to tell them that.
But you try not to make it their
Right.
responsibility. It's
It's
not
my
their fault.
responsibility. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
You maybe I work too hard or maybe I'm working too much and what they're trying to tell me is they want to spend more time with me. That's okay. But then I have to tell them and I explain to them I am doing this because so that we can have so I can provide you with a good life. Like so that I can give you what you need. And I know that that hurts, but it's like
It's very. It's again, words matter. It's very different phrasing. It's a very different. You're conveying something very different by that.
I
And
need to be careful calling
yeah,
Pep Pep a motherfucker.
God,
You have
thanks
no
God, no,
idea. Actually, if you put his
no.
mother's picture and his ex-wife's picture side by side,
Please don't. Please don't.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Maybe Kelby, no,
Please don't.
we can find
Don't
when
go
you
Photoshop. Don't. No, oh God. Mm. This. I feel like this is gonna happen at some point. Arugs is gonna Photoshop and morph, and it's oh God.
no morphing. Just a side by side. It's very simple,
Oh,
side by side. Hey, Pep Pep, I am only just trying to state what you're already having to deal
great.
with so that you have something to talk about in therapy.
You're just bringing it to the forefront. Here you
I am just
go.
letting you think about that.
Thanks.
Okay, well, all right. Here's a question. Speaking of your ex,
Mm-hmm.
why didn't your ex want to be a mom? And I'm not saying that there is anything wrong with not being a mother. I am not saying that at all. I think it's a noble choice. I think that I'm so glad that we're in a society now that it is not 100% because we're still getting that. But even my youngest daughter's like, I don't want to have kids. Like, and that's fine. And I'm like, okay, if you don't want to have kids, you don't want to have kids. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I need you to be making me a grandmother. I don't give a shit. Like, if you don't want to have kids and you want to live your life, and I get to be a grandmother to grandpuppies, great. Like, but
Wait. You mean it's not good for the parent to look at the kid and go make me a grandparent? What? That's not healthy?
oh
Yes,
wait, who
that's
did
happened to
that?
me.
Who
That has
did that?
happened
Yeah,
many times.
yeah.
Many times. Many times to the point where I almost did it.
What? This is news to me. Breaking
It
news
was
7 years
well,
later.
it would have been an adoption, but still. Yeah, there was a point, and what's interesting is that point was towards the end where things were not, which was the
Oh, Pepe
worst
was trying to
time
have a
to do
kid
it.
to save the marriage. Okay, got it.
Pretty much, yeah. That's kind of what it's would probably. Yeah, yeah. Get the
Okay.
approval of mom and save the marriage. That's a twofer. Please don't analyze that any further.
Just because you asked, I'm going to let it sit right
Oh,
there. But I might.
let's get into we can get into that one later for yeah.
Okay. Mm,
Oh,
mm,
you
mm.
were dying
I
to crack
am
that
dying.
egg.
I am so
You
dying.
know what?
Continue with your
Go
story.
for it.
No, no, no. Continue with your story.
Okay. So where was I going with this? Oh, didn't have kids. You asked the question. I'm trying to answer the question about why didn't you want to have kids? Um, I don't know her exact motivation. But I think it probably had something to do with her with the way she grew up. She grew up in a pretty bad home life. To the like neither of her parents wanted her. They shipped her off to different places because neither of them wanted to be a parent. And so I think that contributed to it. She didn't want to. She didn't want to do that. She didn't want to be responsible. She was fine having dogs, but I don't think she wanted to. I think she was afraid. She was afraid to put a child through what she went through. Um, oh my god! Wow, cats are great.
I didn't say
Mm.
that one. That was all Jay.
I
I'm
know
just saying
that
it.
was all Jay. Thanks. Thanks.
Kelvin is like, the drama is juicy. Somebody forward this episode to Miko. She needs a
I was
Sunday
just
self
thinking, I'm
care.
like, this is self care Sunday. I think this would satisfy Miko's self care Sunday.
This will satisfy. Happy Mother's Day, Miko.
Right?
Oh.
Wow. Thank you.
No, but
wait,
yeah.
In a couple weeks, y'all are all gonna be in the same place as me, and that's oh god.
Gird your loins, wear a cup, it's fine. Even Calvino's like, whoa.
Oh yeah.
So she had a bad home life. So she went exactly opposite of what like some people do, because some people, when they have a bad home life, they have kids so that
they can prove
they can be different, that they can prove that, you know, having a healthy home life is possible. Like they soothe that inner child parental wound by having kids, which
I think
really bad. Really bad.
That's not a good idea. We're not saying that is a good idea. We're not endorsing that. We're just saying that some people do.
Some people do. And let me trust me, for somebody who's trying to break generational marriage. Right. Not a good idea.
Don't solve a problem by introducing another massive complexity, especially when that complexity is in the form of a human.
Yes. Remember, they are tiny humans. They are tiny humans that you are responsible for. And they're not like puppies. They're not like cats. They actually, like, you know, they last for a long time, and you are responsible for especially for the first, I don't know, ever.
18.
Not even just 18. I think I think honestly for me, if you stop at 18, if you stop thinking, yes, does the responsibility of their choices come out of your hands at 18? Yeah. Okay, great. But you still have to nurture that relationship through the rest of their lives. You are still their parent.
You're right.
You just have to adjust your relationship with them to go, okay, they're 18. They're an adult now. Yeah. Now I have to change my role. My role as a mom matures. And so
supposed to
hypothetically.
Yes, up until a couple of years ago, my mother still treated me as actually no, I take that back. My mother still tries to treat me as a child.
Oh, my mother absolutely
I just stopped trying to let her. I just stopped allowing her to.
And that was the thing that caused me to go no contact with my mom, is that I realized that she still saw me as a child, and I didn't understand why she still saw me and treated me like I was a kid with no autonomy from her, familial wise, is because she parentified me so young. Like, I was responsible for taking care of my sisters, taking care of the chores. So she was treating me already. Nothing about my relationship with her matured or changed. Mm-hmm. I was still her little girl, because when I was little, she still treated me like I was a mini adult.
Yeah.
So she never saw me as an adult. She still doesn't see me as an adult.
She still sees you as a little girl playing an adult.
Right. And my mom said some really nasty things to me.
Yeah.
When I went no contact, and even right before then, before I went no contact, I could tell you one of the ones that hurt the most is that this is how I knew I had to go no contact, is when she started using my kids as weapons against me. When you talk about emotional manipulation, okay. Yeah. I figure we would dump in your trauma. We also dump mine. So talk about emotional manipulation with our parents. My mom used the line, wait till your children hate you as much as you hate me. Wait till you get to experience your children hating you. One, and it wasn't even that if, it was wait
When?
until.
Wow.
And then one time she says, I hope that you can experience how I'm experiencing. I hope that you like, and this is like like some of these nastier ones came after I went no contact, and it was like, she using the phrases like, I hope one day your kids hate you and you get to experience what what I'm experiencing.
Wow. Talk about weaponizing.
And that was one of those.
God.
Okay. And that is why we're not talking.
Yeah. For anyone that wondered where this came, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that Arugs dealt with. Wow.
Yeah.
That hurts just hearing it. Just hearing you say that. Like, I can't imagine.
Oh. And I carried
receiving
that, like those phrases. You want to talk about like how those landed? I carried those phrases for years. And that's why I spent a lot of time going, I don't want to be my mom. I don't want to be my mom. I don't want to be my mom. And that's why,
Yeah.
like, just in the past couple of years, and like I spent a lot of time like that. And my former therapist, who's now my life coach, but I mean, she just said, and she was the one that said, okay, we really need to get you out of that mindset. It's not healthy. It's not healthy for you, and it's not good for your kids. She says, she goes, you be the mom you want to be. And I didn't realize how much those phrases landed. And it was very much like that all the time. Phrases like that, using my kids, very much using my kids to manipulate me and make me feel bad and guilty. And it swung. The messages swung. Like they were like like before I had to block her on everything. I went no contact, but didn't block her. Then I blocked her on everything because it was like one day I would get, a text about how much she loves me and cares about me. She wants to see the kids and she wants to do all these things and all of this stuff. And then the next day I was a selfish bitch. And I hope one day I can, she goes, I hope that I can experience, like my kids hate me so that I understand what she's going through and I'm being childish and I'm doing all these things. And just, again, it was whiplash. And all of that, both the niceties and the anchors were both manipulative.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Both. I mean, both.
I think.
Yeah.
I think your community is feeling a little protective, feeling a little. Just give us a few minutes, just a couple minutes. That's all we need.
She doesn't live far from here, guys. I'm just saying, literally 15 minutes. Like
we will be in the vicinity.
No, but she was very much like that. And that's people always wonder, and nobody knows that, I think. And she used, nobody knows that. And I think that's what bothers me too. It's like, even though I had the receipts, I'm like, okay, would a mom do that? But see, that's the thing. That is the thing that I didn't understand until I started getting into therapy and I started actually working on my mommy issues and my trauma and all of that stuff. Is I get angry at my kids. I get annoyed at my kids. I don't disagree with some of the things that they do. And but I would never wish harm upon them. I would never wish them to hurt. When I see them sad or angry, it bothers me. And I realize that that's what a mom is. That's what a loving, caring, healthy relationship with your kids is they doing something and you being angry and upset and hurt with them, but not once wanting to hurt them. Not wanting to hurt them. And I was like, oh, My kid, trust me, my kids irritate me and anger me and make me like see red and just like, but I never take it out on them.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh shit. Because for a long time, I thought that was normal. I made somebody angry. They had the right to absolutely, you know, decimate me.
Hmm.
And I like that was the first time setting that boundary with my mom. That was the first real solid boundary that I'd ever set. And so, which when you get freaking torpedoes thrown at you like that after you set a boundary, it makes setting consequence boundaries afterwards very difficult because you're afraid of that attack. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's that really did. Which then goes back to the question that I asked my therapist: is why was I so unlovable? Was I so hard to love? And you know what? Here's the thing: it's like I wasn't. Neither are my kids. My kids aren't hard to love.
Mhm.
My kids are easy to love. They're so great. And when they set boundaries with me, hey, mom, I don't want to do this. Or hey, mom, this is what I want to do. Hey, mom, I don't want to go see a male doctor anymore. Okay. Hey, mom, can you not say this anymore? Yeah, absolutely. When
I
you
love that
care,
you have a relationship with your kids that they can say that.
oh, and that's the type of mom I
That's
want to be.
fantastic. Yeah, that's kind of mom you are.
Thanks. Yeah.
You know,
In the vicinity with the solid.
right? Exactly. Thoughts
um,
are happening.
yes.
Yeah.
But yeah. But with my mom hurting as much as me, do I love her less? No. Because there's a part of my inner child that always wants her to love me. And there's a part of my inner child that loves her. And I do love her. And I'm going to make that very clear is that for the longest time, I did vilify her. And for the longest time, I did, I was angry and all of this stuff, like I said before, but I do love her. I do love her. My love is not conditional. And I think that as a mother and as somebody, as the person that I am, I've learned that I don't love her. If she forgives me, I will love her. No, I absolutely love her. Just because I love her, though, does not mean that I have to break my boundary. That doesn't mean that I have to communicate with her. I can love somebody and it'd be best that they not be in my life. And that was the difficult is when that radical acceptance, two things can't exist in the same space. I can love my mother and wish her well and wish her a good life and wish good things for her and hope that she finds whatever it is that she needs and the healing that she needs. And still not have to communicate with her. I can still love her and wish her the best and still remain no contact. And that is perfectly okay. And that's hard.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hmm.
So, if you could tell your mom one thing if you could tell your mom just one thing that would actually land with her, not what she would do, but if you would tell her one thing that she
Hmm.
could act that would actually make a difference, what would be the one thing that you would say?
Ooh.
That's what we're going to leave with.
Oh, oh yeah, that small thing is for him. Okay. Oh, that's a tough one. Um, I want her to understand that.
No, say it. What would be the phrase that you would say to her?
Okay, I am my own person, and whatever that looks like is worthy of love and acceptance. And yeah, so I think that's the thing that I didn't have is being accepted for who I am because I was always trying to be somebody else. That was something that was projected onto me.
It's very profound.
What about you?
What would I say if it would to make a
Mhm.
difference?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's tough, isn't it?
No, I don't know if what I'm going to
Yeah.
say, what I would want to say is healthy though. To
You
me,
wanna you kind of want to lash out a little bit.
yeah, just a little. There's a part of me that I mean, I'm going to be real honest. Like, there's a part of me that does, but
Sure. Yeah.
stop wishing I was the way you would have raised me, accept me as I see. And you know what I'm noticing the
Yes.
theme is a lot of us are all like,
Uh-huh.
why can't you just accept me for who I am? Do you notice that? Do
Yeah.
you notice that? A
Yeah.
lot of
I
us are
do.
very, a lot of us, in, especially in our generation, in the
Yes.
Gen X, Millennial, the Zennial
Mm-hmm.
generation, all through that Gen X Millennial generation that was raised
That
by the
period.
baby
Yeah.
boomers. Um,
Yep.
very, very much are all like, why? What was it about me?
Yeah. Why couldn't you love me for me?
And I think that honestly, if I were
What?
going to do the healthy thing, if I were going to say the healthy thing at land,
Mm-hmm.
what was it about me that made it so difficult?
Ooh. Yeah.
What was it that made it so difficult for you to treat me well and just accept me for who I am?
Yeah.
And that sucks. Like, that's not a question you should ask your parent.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to.
None
I
of us
get
should
it.
have to.
Yeah.
But here we are. I'm raising Gen Alpha. So here is hoping that my fucking Gen Alpha badgers will like fucking fuck up the world, you know? Um
Yeah.
feel
But I
validated and
think you're
loved.
right. I think you're right about the theme. I think that was very common. The projection was something that we was what we grew up with. That
Yeah.
you're only lovable if you are this way, the way that I want you to be.
But notice that a lot of our parents were absent because of the generation. We were latchkey kids. Like we talk about that. Like this is
Yes, we
talked about all
were.
over social media. Like, do you know where it's 10 o'clock? Do you know where your
Do you know
kids
where you're
are? And
That
yet
was a
they would,
real thing.
and yet they still get mad at us for missing curfew. We're like, fuck, you didn't give a shit where we were. Like our
You
parents were strict, but like we didn't.
you left us to fend for ourselves, and then you got upset when we became what we weren't the way you wanted us to be.
Yeah. We raised ourselves and then you got mad because we didn't end up like mini yous.
Yeah.
And then,
Or we tried to become a mini them because we wanted the acceptance because they were never around, and the only way
you
we could
did.
get their acceptance. No, I did. That's what. Yeah, I did. And then later in life, we finally got to the point where we said, "Enough's enough. This is who I am," and you can't accept that as a parent. You only love me because I was who you wanted me to be.
We had fend for yourself nights. Did you for meals?
Hmm.
Did you ever have that?
Yeah, yeah,
Fend for
we did.
yourself? Like, and it wasn't just like, oh, I don't feel like cooking, or hey, there's stuff that you can like, or you're old enough now you can make it. Like, I still make dinner for my kids. I mean, but they like to make. I mean, I'm being honest. Like, they like to make their own stuff because it makes them feel independent.
Yeah,
It gives them that source of accomplishment. I'm like often saying, you don't have to do that, right? They're like, no, we like it. And I'm like, okay. Like, I literally am like, remind them that they don't have to do that. I am more than willing and able to like make them dinner or even order in. I'm more than capable of providing for you. And they're like,
yeah,
no, they like feeling like accomplished and feeling like they're grown
sure,
up. They can make their own eggs. They can make their own sandwiches. It's fine. But like,
yeah.
I never once just be like, no, you're on your own. Fend for yourself.
I I think it started for me when the hoarding became all encompassing because there was
Hot
no
Pockets. Mine was Hot Pockets. Hot Pockets and ramen,
yeah,
y'all.
frozen. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
especially
Hot
hot
Pockets
pockets, but
ramen, and
anything.
I know that we discussed this, the cream chip beef over instant mashed
Oh no, that
potatoes.
was
Oh,
no.
we were fancy. Oh, and the French bread pizza. My mom used to go to Sam's and buy the big
Yes,
box of French bread pizza, and that I lived on that
yeah.
forever.
Yeah, yeah, that was very much a thing. Get it from school, let in the house, figure out what's in the fridge. The fridge was also a hoarding place, so that was sketchy. Yeah.
Oh, well, you're starting to feel uncomfortable about that. It's okay. We'll
No,
end
no,
it.
no, no.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. Hot Pockets ramen, single serve chicken. Yes, all the
No,
frozen stuff, all the single serves.
pot
That
pies.
was me.
Pot pie was fucking fancy. We didn't do that fancy shit.
No.
We didn't do the
hot,
fancy
hot,
fucking pot
hot
pies.
hot pockets that were boiling on the outside and frozen in the middle.
Because
God, and that
microwaves back then,
sleeve that did nothing.
that did
Yeah,
nothing.
microwaves back then weren't exact. Oh my god, jeez. Uh,
But all right, I'm gonna close with this. Whether you have your mom in your life or you don't, whether you had a great female, presence or didn't, or however that looks for you, um, you are not your past, good or bad,
mhm.
and that your past doesn't define you. And you do not need to seek anybody's approval. And Mother's Day and Father's Day is allowed to fucking suck.
Mhm.
And I think I say that every year, and I'm going to say it till the day I die.
Every year after that.
Every year after that, Mother's and Father's Day is allowed to fucking suck. It's allowed, and you're allowed to be hurt. You're allowed to be angry.
Mhm.
You're allowed to not be grateful that your mom is in your life, and you're allowed that. Now, if you have a great mom and a great grandmother or whoever raised you, I mean, you know what? Celebrate them then. Or celebrate the moms that you do know in your life.
Mhm.
Whether they be your
You don't have
friends that
you
are
don't
new
have a
moms.
choice. Yeah.
I think that we forget about that we concentrate on the women that gave birth to us and raised us. But I'm just going to tell you as a mom, you know,
Mhm.
they need those reminders that that they're not sucking as moms because regardless, it's fucking hard.
Mom guilt's a thing, isn't
Mom
it?
guilt's a thing, and just understanding that, especially if you've been friends with them pre-kids and then now post-kid, like you have to understand and accept them that their priorities have changed, and that's okay, and still love them and care about them, and go, hey, I think you're doing a great job, and I'm glad you're in my life, and you're a great person. You
Mhm.
know, you're a good person before kids, and you're going to be a great mom to these kids. Celebrate the moms in your life. And I'm not just talking about the moms that
Yes.
are the older generation that raised you. I'm saying celebrate the
Yes.
moms in your life or the mother like figures, because we all know those mother hens. Like, thank you for being
Mhm.
the cat herder or whatever. Like,
Yeah. Absolutely.
it's okay. So, hello. Well, we are about to
Hey,
sign
well,
off, actually,
we are.
because it is about time for us to sign off. Speaking of
Go
Mother's
back and
Day,
watch the pod.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, we celebrate you. Thanks.
Oh, that's sweet.
Because I mother all of y'all. Let's be real honest.
I mean,
I, no, but thank you guys. All right.
mhm.
Enjoy your Sunday. Fuck whatever
Yes.
holiday it is.
However, however that
However it
is,
is you're
this is a
celebrating
Sunday.
it. Yes, it is a
Yeah.
Sunday. Celebrate your Sunday. And we will see you
All right.
guys later.